What's going on, Internet? Iron Jordan here. So today I'm bringing you Beetroopers again, but I'm with my buddy Austin, who got top 8 at the Gamers Alley case event. You want to say hey, Austin?
Hey guys.
So for those of you who don't know, a lot of the viewers of the channel are from the local area, so you guys are familiar with Austin. You know about his exploits, you know about his conquests. Probably one of the better, if not the best player in the Charlotte area. I don't know how many regionals have you topped at this point.
Top 8 at multiple regionals. Going back a few years probably.
Yeah.
Hmm?
Oh, it's incredibly. Your resume is definitely very impressive. I'm very lucky to have you on the channel. Very lucky to consider you my friend, and definitely somebody that I aspire to when I'm playing Yu-Gi-Oh to be as good as. So, with a small introduction out of the way, I'm actually going to just remind the people at home real quick that if you want 5% off your TCG order, ordering from Meta Monster Gaming specifically, you can click the link in the description in my channel notes and go on over there and toss us a bone, and we'd greatly appreciate it. So, with the shilling out of the way, let's talk about the bugs, buddy. So first of all, what made you decide that you want to play Beetroopers at the case event?
Well, I guess it's more or less like all the cards, all the like the bees, the Beetroopers specifically, where like they're all interaction with your opponent like disruptions, but they're also extenders, and that's what like kind of drew me towards them more or less. And then no one really knows what they do, to be honest.
I think that is a excellent point. The deck definitely does have some resilience, although I do find that in a lot of hands where like if you don't have an extender, you really struggle. The best hands for me have been the hands that have Scale Bomber, because I mean,
Yep.
chain blocking is important, but also how do you feel about this deck going against hand traps specifically?
Uh, it's pretty resilient depending on, well, it depends on like how many extenders you have. Like the problem with the deck still is it requires like two starters to do something sometimes.
Right.
But like if you have the chain blocks, which helps, but it depends on if they know when to stop it. Mainly like the link to Armor Horn. If they just stop that, you kind of like can't play anymore.
Let me tell
I
you,
don't know.
in testing, I don't play a lot in person right now. In fact, I think the case tournament was my first time playing in person in like months. But on EDO Pro, sometimes like, hey, here's Armor Horn. It's like, oh, sweet, here's my Veiler, here's my MPerm. It's like, all right, cool,
Yep.
GG.
Yep.
But I definitely enjoy your mindset when it comes to hey, people don't really know what the set does. It's a sleeper for sure. It's definitely not a bad deck, and it's on the fringe of like Rogue tier 2 ish. And so it's
Hmm.
not a bad choice to bring to like a mid level event like a case event, especially a player of your caliber who can. I was joking with some buddies. You could probably bring a 40 card pile, of just random cards to a regional and top it. I'm convinced you could win something with War Rots. Trust me. Uh,
I'll try.
you'll try.
Maybe.
Oh
Maybe.
my god, I can't wait to get that deck profile. I can't wait. So let's just run through the deck. So Beetroopers starting first with the boy Scout Buggy. Just I don't know. There's just not really too much to say about this card. It's just kind of insanely broken. However, I will say that you utilize it in a slightly different way than I have been utilizing it. So do you want to talk about the Cicada King into Scary Moth kind of deal?
Oh yes. So like so if you don't open up Scout Buggy in your combos, you always want to summon it off of Atlas because with this particular like build, I usually try to set up the Scary Moth turn one instead of the counter traps. So to get to that point, you have to use your Scout Buggies and to go into Cicada King instead of extenders. And then you just end phase, bring back the Scary Moth, and just floodgate your opponent through like a window like effect, basically.
Herd window was pretty good. Herd window was
Hmm.
pretty solid. So my favorite thing to do, obviously, so this little guy here, Scale Bomber. I love this guy so
Hmm.
much. Scale Bomber and particularly like Sting the Poison. I feel like you can have a more versatile board. Like Scary Moth is insanely good, and if you can sit on
Mhm.
this guy, like you're mostly fine. The problem I have with this board, and I don't know if you have experienced it yet, is like decks that can get through this. You don't really have any other protection other than the fact that just like Invincible Atlas is just hard to get over.
Mhm.
Has that been a problem for you at all?
Well, funny enough, at the case tournament, I made that scary moth board maybe once, to be honest.
No.
I always usually just sided out the scary moth.
Yeah.
I'm going to eventually just cut it, but
Okay.
like, I usually would just like actually end on the seraphim or the atlas with the
Yes.
seraphim, and then bring back like poison, and then get more
Yeah.
interactions with my opponent that way.
Stain the poison being an impermanence essentially, or like Scale Bomber being essentially a Trident, but the monster has to activate its effect first.
Oh
That's actually
yes.
the board that I'm most keen on sitting on, is trying to be like on Invincible Atlas with a Seraphim, the Trap set usually. Hopefully a Cicada King. It really depends on how the combo goes, and then just being able to bring back another form of disruption with Scale Bomber or Seen the Poison. I've also found that the way that I play the deck, so I've tested like the Scary Moth combos after we played at the case tournament,
Hmm.
and while I like the scary, I'm a combo player. You know this. I love combo. While the Scary Moth board definitely feels powerful and it's very intuitive, like how to get to that line, like Resonant. This card, if anything ever gets touched in this deck, it's gonna be this card. Resonance Insect is
Oh
so
yes.
insane, dude. Um, I found that like sitting on it is technically less interruptions because you're not on a hard lockout board, but like Fly and Sting with like backup from either Sting the Poison or Scale Bomber, and then like another interaction because like the we're gonna see a different version than what I was actually playing. Was playing more like trap cards like Strites and stuff like that. But maybe I'll go back to it, but we'll see. So the card I want to talk about next is, because most of this is pretty standard, right? Your one Assault
Hmm.
Roller, your two Steam Lancers. I'm actually only playing one, and we'll talk about
Uh,
that here in a little bit.
that's actually my favorite card in the deck, to be
How
honest.
how big was this against hand traps in the case event?
Like it was very big because like you don't want to see it if you're going first, you don't want to see it really because like you can't use it, so you want to summon off Atlas. But if they hand trap you, it becomes a like pseudo extender.
Yeah,
And usually, like if they do it, I search it off of Resonance instead of like other cards because that like Sting Lancer also get net you another card on top of itself as well too,
for sure. I
which
was
is
definitely
nice.
gonna I was definitely gonna say that this card's versatility is not lost on me, especially in combination, like you said, with Resonance Insight, where it's like, hey, do you really need to clear a back row? Sweet. You dump your Resonance, you grab your Stain Lancer, you use your
Hmm.
Stain Lancer's effect, and then you grab your Descent. You get another body on board, and you get to clear their back row. Granted, you'd have to have Invincible Atlas on board, but still, I mean, and even if you don't, like, you don't grab this and you go for formation, and then go into link plays, and then you just you can bring back Stain Lancer for if you need to. Obviously, that's burning
Hmm.
yourself for a lot, but um, so obviously the one Mighty Neptune, I've been since you convinced me to run this card, and I have been enjoying it since doing so.
Like,
Um,
like what I also like about both Lancer and that card to like combine together, it creates like a kind of loop of recurring resources essentially
for sure.
because you shuffle back the banished ones, of course,
Hmm.
and then if they out the Neptune, you just put Neptune back on the bottom with your Lancer, and then just continually recycle that way too.
Absolutely
And
my
also,
favorite. Sorry, go ahead.
oh no, it just helps out in like long grind games, especially against like trap decks and stuff.
Right. I was going to say that my favorite thing to do with this now has been, since I'm playing three Goku Pole. I like to have you'll see why when we talk about my deck. So I'm playing the three Goku Pole. So having the one vanilla target, I'm playing Killer Needle.
Hmm.
Um, Having the one Goku Pole target and being able to banish it off of like Armor Horn or banish it off of Doom Dozer and then shuffle it back with Neptune has just been, like, hey, I can resolve Goku Pole multiple times a game now. And it's spot removal, it's an extra body, it's just so good. Descent. How did you feel about this in the main deck?
Uh, to be honest, like it was really nice. It was just a really good like just kind of like extender in a way. It rarely came up for the like back row removal, to be honest. Just helped out mainly against like the stun matchups. That's the only time that I really popped like spell traps with it.
Right. Did you ever feel like you would have preferred to have had another actual insect extender instead of this? You know, because I see here you're only playing one twin bow, and we'll get to that here in a second.
Uh, mm, I'll maybe cut it down to one, and then put in another twin bow. But like, I also ran into the problem of Sting Lancer running out of Sting Lancer targets to like search because I always went for the field spell first. The field spell has like slowly become my favorite target now to search.
Sneaky
So,
good in the grind game.
oh yes. So maybe cut it down to one.
Okay. Yeah, I in my list, I think now I'm running 1-1-1. I'm running one of the descent, one field spell, and one trap card. Battlewass, it looks relatively standard. We do have a couple of differences. I played 3 twin bow and 0 rapid fire.
Ooh.
Yeah, I have found more that the recursion on rapid fire wasn't as necessary. If I mean, but also like I'm playing to Papillon, and I'm trying to go into it more often than you, I think, and so I think that's part of where my mindset comes from, is that I already
Mhm.
have the recursion from Papillon, and so it's kind of redundant here. Especially since rapid fire only gets a Battlewass monster, right? Yeah.
When it's destroyed
Oh
or
yeah, when it's destroyed. Oh wow, yeah. I was thinking about the
yeah.
normal summon effect.
Normal summon brings back anything, any level 3 or lower.
Level
But
3 or
like
lower.
the reason why I like this card too is because it gets you a card, but then if they respond with it for like with say like a strike or just say strike, and issue another card instead too. So it's like a 2-for-1 if they interact with it mainly.
That's insanely good. I might have to consider putting him back in then, because honestly, I'll be completely honest. When I was testing with this deck, I did not do a lot of live game testing. I did a lot of like firsthand, like kind of stuff, and that's where my kind of like, this is not that good, probably comes from. Resonance Insight. Hey Konami, give us an ulti or like a ghost or something of this card, because
I don't know. With this card, like if you open Resonance Insect plus an Extender, that's a lot better than opening up like any other starter in the deck.
I
I found.
I agree. I agree. My favorite hands have always been Resonance Sting, because like normal Sting, get an extender, special make armor horn, normal resonance go off.
Yep.
So that, I mean, like there's really not much to say about this card other than the fact that it is just the most bonkers card in this deck, and it's not warranted getting hit now. But if this deck ever, if bugs ever get more support, which let's be honest, I mean, it's a pretty popular archetype. It could potentially get more support in the future. Then this would for sure be the card that's on the chopping block. One Goku Pole.
Mhm.
What's the mindset behind one Goku Pole?
Well, I mean, it's a hard once per turn, and you only really need one. It's also like you always foolish it off of Resonance anyway, and
Mm-hmm.
it's also recyclable through two different ways. A, Sting Lancer if you have to, or B, you banish it off of any like your Link 2 or Doom Dozer, but you put it back with Neptune. So there's no I didn't see a reason to put more than one in
So
because I would rather see extenders instead of breaking up multiples of these.
that's a good point. My big deal about it has been that it's like perfect Papillon
Oh, yep.
like fodder. Or so honestly, for the most part, you need one good normal summon in your hand for the most part, like either Scout Buggy or Sting the Poison. But having a second like not bad normal summon, I just consider Goki Pole another extender as the second normal summon. You know what I mean? Activate Armor
Mhm.
Horn effect, normal summon the Goki Pole, and also because I'm playing Registrider, I need to have a massive level 3s to normal summon. So that's
Mhm.
why I'm playing 3. Big Insect, I don't think we really need to touch on this too much. It doesn't really matter what you play here as long as it's a 4 with as low attack as possible, which is either this or Killer Needle, I think, right?
Yep. My yeah, I'm going to change to needle once I get a hold of one.
You
I
just
just
like the
couldn't
way it
find
looks
one.
better.
Well, because like wind barriers at you
He is a
because of
wind
like
barrier, you're right, yeah.
yep.
I guess you could normal summon Goku Pole, you could crash into something and then summon Needle and then pop. Well, no, you couldn't even pop the wind statue because
Yeah,
it's
but
1,000
Needle
attack.
is 1200. It gets
Mm-hmm.
over the statue as well. So if it comes up, it comes up. If not,
Scary
you know,
Moth, just like we said, the Wind Piece, Doom Dozer. Obviously, this is just
broken.
searchable. Yeah, I mean, just searchable off Resonance Insect, and then just hey, I'll banish 2, I'll activate. I'll search it off Resonance Insect, and then I'll use it to trigger Resonance Insect. Is pretty good.
Yep.
Gardala, definitely just a really good main deck option. Having the ability to search a kaiju in a format where you could potentially run into Ad Idnister, although it's not likely. But just having the ability to search out removal that doesn't activate is very good.
Yep. Yeah, the deck struggles against like Dragoon as well. Or Dragoon like S cards, like big boss monsters. So a searchable kaiju is always like good to have.
Mm-hmm, for sure. How did you feel about Retaliating Sea in the list?
Oh, like I loved it. Like a searchable like hand trap that people don't really see coming, especially against like invokes, Shaddolls. It came up against Prank Kids actually.
Oh yeah,
I searched it multiple times and like he just auto lost each time I resolved
bro.
because like
I would have loved to have this in my top 4 matchup. Did I tell you what happened in it?
oh no.
Man, I drew like nothing but hand traps. I didn't even like really like game one. I looked and I'm going second. I didn't win a dice roll like all day after round 5, I think. So I think round 6, our top 8 match, and then the top 4 match. I'm pretty sure I lost the dice rolls every time. But I opened Ash, which is good against Pranks. Valor's, which is like meh. So open Ash, double Valor, and double Airborne Assault.
Oh, that's great.
and then in game 2, I opted to go first for the first time. So I every game that day that I lost, I only lost 2 games total in Swiss. I lost once against my round 6 opponent, who also top 8'd. That was Peter. So I lost against him in game 2, and then I lost against guy's name something Jordan. He was playing his last name was Jordan, and he was on Lvlitch. I lost a game 2 to him, and in both of those rounds I chose to go second in game 3. And in top 4 against Pranks was the only time I didn't choose to go second, and I got punished for it. I drew double MPerm, Airborne Assault. No, it wasn't Airborne Assault. It was double MPerm, like Foolish, Karis, and a Thoroughblade going first. And I was like, great, I can't do anything. Gold Sark, you have not converted me yet, but I'm trying.
I like Gold Sark because it's another starter and it also makes them like have to respond to that card or resonance because your sole target is banish resonance, so you foolish like Goku Pole. Goku Pole will get you a starter, or if you're going second, they have to respond to it because if you summon the normal, you could just like pop whatever they have on the board that could be a problem.
All right.
And like it came up like for example, when I played against this pranks guy, I gold sarked for resonance, sent Goku Pole, and then he said that's Goku Pole's fine, and I wanted to confirm. I said, "Is that fine?" And then he said, "Okay." So I just summoned the vanilla, and then popped his Bow Wow, and then OTK'd him.
That's awesome. That's incredible. We'd love to see it. Okay, we got to talk about ratios now. I don't know if this is like a new Yu-Gi-Oh player thing to do. I'm not a competitive Yu-Gi-Oh player. I just like on a whim decided to go to the case event, but I'm packing 3 of all my hand traps. What is up with playing double Ash Blossom, double Ghost Odor, double Tactics?
Oh, okay. So my reasoning is it incorporates into the side deck as well. Because since I play in the side deck, I only had room for like 2 of hand traps. I don't want to. I'm playing 2 ofs in the main deck of hand traps as well, so I can just take one out and replace it with the other one. So that way, I don't have to hurt like my core engine pieces instead.
That made sense. That is a way better explanation than I would have given. Which, if I were doing something like this, to be like, I don't know, I don't want to draw 3 of them. I guess I don't. And then obviously MPerm is always good, so you play 3 of it because even if you're going first, card's good. Extra deck, not too much talked about here. It's pretty standard. The Hauki Fibrats. What is what? I
Oh,
assume this is for Sting the Poison because you can like
okay.
tag it out for Sting the Poison, right?
So Hulk actually was like really good. So for example, with Sting the Poison, that's your only target other than Ghost Ogre,
Yeah, or
but
Ash.
or Ash, of course. But like for example, Sting the Poison, if you only open Sting the Poison, no other like extenders or anything, it turns into interruption with your opponent. So
I
Sting
see.
Sting will search like either pin or twin. Then you summon, go into needle, summon another sting. Then you summon the seraphim,
Hmm.
and then you just end on that. And so you just bring back a sting on their turn. It searches you a starter for next turn, and it's also at least one interruption by itself, if that
Nice.
makes sense.
Yeah, no, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. It's definitely I definitely need to try this out. That's not something I had thought of. And then obviously Unicorn's just universally good. So is Access
Hmm.
Code, and then Cicada King and Zeus. Let's talk about Cyborg. I think Drone Lotbird is pretty self-explanatory. I mean, like your sideboard looks pretty standard, all things
Yeah, yeah,
considered.
pretty much.
But are there any decisions that you made over certain cards that you were considering? Maybe you played extra Gardalas over something else. Was there anything that you wanted to put in your sideboard that maybe you couldn't fit?
I wanted to play evenly matched in there, but I chose Lightning Storm instead. But in hindsight, that was the wrong choice. I should have played evenly because I wasn't thinking about the what's his name? The new rock monster, the Heavenly Prison.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, I
I
wasn't thinking about it.
man, I ran into
So
that. I ran into that. So I played against Lvlitch twice, and they both had it.
I did
Card
as
was
well.
annoying. Card was annoying.
And like I went through grind game only because I kept looping Stink Lancers to shuffle back his Golden Lords in the grave. So I out-resourced him that way. Because just make him waste all of his trap cards, it doesn't matter.
Right.
As long as you get rid of the Golden Lord, which is the sole problem, they can't do
Yeah,
anything.
I actually had that. So in my round, it was round 4 or 5. And I keep blanking on the guy's name, but his last name is Jordan. He was a good player. Um, he was playing Eldritch, and when we went into game 3, I realized that he had been banishing to set a lot of Golden Land cards, but he wasn't using them. Also, I
Mhm.
had banished 2 of his Golden Lords, and so
Oh, yeah,
I was like, okay, that's what it was. He only has 2 in the deck, so I just have to hold
yep.
on. And then I ended up winning in time because he judgmented me 3 times that game. Yo, he judgmented my feather duster, and my red reboot that game.
Oh, I did that. I did that once to Christian. I went down to 125 life, and then I came back and won.
Oh my god,
That
that's
was
insane.
like that was great.
We are going to switch over real quick. Let me know when it pops up for you.
All right, it popped up.
This is my current Beetrooper list. So now
Okay.
that we've talked about some things, I just want to give you a look at what I'm doing. So the big thing here that's different is first of all, my hand trap ratios are correct. I'm running I'm running 3 and 3. Uh,
Okay.
uh, I'm just kidding. The big thing is that Registrators here. So this card is an additional scale bomber for me. So only when you normal summon. When you normal summon a level 3 insect, you can special summon it from your hand, and then you can change the level of this card and another card on your field. And so the reason why I'm running this specifically is it's another chain blocker for Seeing the Poison and for Scout Buggy, and I like that a lot. And B, it lets you do things like go into Exostag or go into Titanic Moth into Zeus, when you're going second. And so what is your opinion on this card?
Uh, it's a good card. My only problem with it, like that I see, is you have to normal summon that like a level 3,
Mhm.
and sometimes you don't have that. I guess because you have to normal summon Sting or normal summon
Right.
Resonance.
Also, I'm
But
completely wrong. You cannot do the normal summon of Sting because it is a level 2. I keep catching this and testing and like doing it and like taking it back. Like, oh yeah, I can't do that. Luckily, EDO Pro does catch me because it's automated, but it does block for Scout Buddy. And I am playing the 3 Goku Poles. And then obviously sometimes you normal twin bow the attacker if you don't want
if you have to,
yeah, if
yes.
you have to, especially if you're going second, you don't want to lock yourself out of going into Zeus. So normal summoning this is completely fine. But that's part of the reason why my level 3s are so high here, why I'm playing the 3 Goku Pole, why I'm playing, because you can normal summon one of these and then get its effect as well. I have not found a consistency problem when it comes to this card. I always have a level 3 normal summon. And if you don't, I mean, like, you can just discard it. You just discard it off Papillon. Dead card's a dead card. And then the only other thing I think that's different really is I'm playing the 3 twin bows, and then I've got the Zeus package, the Etchestag, the Moth, and the Sky Thunder. I definitely do want to try out how to Fibrats now that you've put me onto that, because that seems very good.
Like how it's good only because it's A, interruption, and then B, it searches you follow up or a starter for next turn.
Right.
Which was my big thing about it. What's with the one Sting Lancer? I'm finding that to be my favorite card in the deck now, to be honest.
So I was playing 2 until literally last week. And I found, so I do not have the ability to draw 2-ofs ever. So whenever my hands
it's searchable, so
my hands only draw 2-ofs when they're both called Pot of Desires, right? So
yeah.
so it's searchable, and so because I can't ever draw it, I found, especially since I switched to the Neptune and the Scary Moth build, I found myself only ever searching this thing and never like hard drawing it at 2. And so I fear that if I go any higher, then I'll end up drawing multiple or whatever. And also I wanted to cut one to try out Descent, because I wasn't playing Descent in the list. Because like I said, I'd rather have the actual body of like Registrider, to have as banish material, or, to have as shuffle material or whatever, because I'm trying to activate Pick of Alina every turn, get that avarice effect. But
oh yeah, yes.
But yeah, it definitely has some room to grow. Obviously, I'm not the one who top 8'd with Beetrooper, so I don't have a leg to stand on here. So
I don't know. Draw like hard drawing 2 like Sting Lancer is not bad, because A is interruption, not like pseudo like interaction with your opponent, because it's like a interacts with their grave.
that is
not
pretty
like
good.
their field.
That is pretty good.
Yep. So
well,
I don't know. Do what?
Now that you've seen my list, and now that we've talked about your list, I'm actually going to leave the people with a look at your list. So if you guys want the list that top 8'd the Gamers Alley case event, and you didn't see it on Robbie Cole's video, then here it is. Here it is for you with the guy. But look, bonus points. I got the guy who played it. Okay, I brought him in. So, Austin, is there anything that you want to say about Beetroopers maybe going forward, or like, do you have any pointers for the people who are out there before we head on out?
Not off the top of my head, not on the spotlight. I can't think of anything.
Do you have any shout outs that you want to throw out there?
Shout out to you for bringing me on. I had a blast, actually.
Awesome. Well, I'm glad you enjoyed it. I enjoyed this quite a lot as well. This is actually my first time doing this. I wanted you to be my first guest because we kind of broke into competitive Yu-Gi-Oh together, even though I did not stick around for as long as you have. I definitely look forward to potentially going to some competitive events with you and the guys in the future, and to look forward to more success, honestly. So thank you for coming on. I greatly appreciate it. I hope we can do this again in the future. And guys, I hope you enjoyed the video, and we'll see you in the next one.